Hello, Papua New Guinea. Good morning and God bless. I'm Luke Walwa. I'm from Western Islands, and I work with one of the constitutional office in the country. And I have a view to express, and I think it's about time we need to give serious consideration into this viewpoint which I am trying to raise. And the view is like this, we're into the 50th Jubilee. We are going to turn 50 years old. The country is going to turn 50 years old. But when looking at developments and, the pace or the manner in which we are developing, looks like there's no sign of future promising. And with Papua New Guineans, we need to really change some important laws that I believe will eventually and quickly change this country. Yes. First viewpoint that I want to raise is this, it's about time we have been owning land since independence, since the country came into being. We live in our cultures, we live in a culture where we own land and all that. And, it's about time I'm trying to put this proposal through. If the state or the government or the NEC can be able to look at this issue, like, we're owning land. The land, even though it's a source of our living, where we get all the strength from, food, everything. We live on our land, we own our land. The Papua New Guineans, they own the land. I think the country is the only country in the world where we own land, and most of the land of Papua New Guinea is like 90% or 97%, I guess. Not guess, it's a fact. 90% of the land of Papua New Guinea is owned by the individuals or the customary land. And the state has got only 3 or 4% as alienated land, or the land that is state land, we call them. So, it has some impediments on when the state tries to develop this, this place. It's very difficult because the land is owned by the people, and getting land from the people to, convert them into state land, or that is a very, very costly exercise, and it's much complicated. So my proposal I'm putting through the NEC or the government of our day must look into this issue. I think it's about time we have to surrender our land to the state so the government can own all the land. So no one, no tribe, no clan, no whatever in the country owns a land in their own provinces. Never. Why I am saying this? Because owning a land is a big impediment to government service. The government is trying to drive service and deliver services in terms of health, education, all the services that we can think of. But because we own the land, it's very difficult for the government to deliver its services and programs in line with its immediate terms or whatever goals that the government set within a period of time. So it's about time, I think government, or the people, we have to embrace the fact that we are in the 21st century and in the second millennium. So second millennium is like 2000 years. The world, or we are past 2000 years, and we're in the 2024. And we are already in the 21st century. There is no other century. The 21st century is the last century we have. and which means that development in terms of technology advancements, the inventions has already been, you know, been done by the people, the white people, those most developed countries. We have the brains there. They have reached the pinnacle of the advancement. And Papua New Guinea, we can't wait. We can't say that, oh, we have long way to go and we're only 50 years old and we are still a young nation. No, we are not young. Why I'm saying this? Because we can always, adapt. Like we're adapting the technology that has been invented by the white people, the Chinese, the most advanced countries that you can ever think of. They have already developed those things. They have already made those advancements, innovations. They have sent rockets to the moon, even a submarine into the sea. Sent planes in the air and sea to sail the oceans. All these advancements and innovations and creations, technology advancements, all that has been done. And I think it's in the 21st century, and there's nothing we can ever think of. Those new creations that you can ever think of at the remodification, or it's like you will build on from what has already been built in terms of technology, knowledge, everything that you can think of. So Papua New Guinea, we are not young. I think in terms of like the years since we got independence, yes, we can say young, but I don't think we can wait that long to expect developments and advancements to take place some years later. Like we have this 2050 or 2040 vision. This vision is some years like into the unknown future where we don't know actually going to achieve them or not. It's just a paperwork they did. Some good consultants, they came up, they wrote this very, very very impressive vision in the paper. But there is nothing mentioned about converting our current Kashmir lands into state lands. Okay, you might be thinking that state land like Kashmir land, that's where our life is, our livelihood is, our life depends on it and all that. Our life depends very much on our land because we depend so much for our survival. We grow our food from, that's where source of our strength and source of our sustenance, livelihood and all that. Yes, I understand. But, what will land give to you? In terms of when you look at the bigger picture, how the nation is going to be developed into a developed country where, we can enjoy the much improved living standards that our neighbor countries experiencing, like Australia. So each other time we give our land to the state on one important condition. When we give our land to the state, we must put the state on notice that our life is now in your hands. And you have to be very careful because this land that we are giving you is our life. We depend on our land so much that when we give it away and we surrender it to you, you have to handle it like an egg. It must not fall and get damaged. In that way, the parliamentarians, they will have a lot of responsibility and care because we are now surrendering our land to the state. So they have to be very, very careful. So once we surrender our land, we will have to tell the state, or the state has to amend the necessary applicable laws and regulations within those respective authorities to, put us on payroll. Every Papua New Guinean must be put on payroll. For instance, we can be paid like $2,000 or $2+ grand a fortnight, and that you in your like, you may rebut or you may like oppose this idea and say that no, that's too much. I think we can't afford that. But from my own analysis, I have made I've reached an understanding, and I accepted the fact, and I am satisfied that you may be saying it's expensive, but as soon as the money is paid, like on a fortnightly basis, all of us will be loaded into the Alaska payroll system, the government payroll system, and all of us can be paid. But then at the same time, the government will remove the tax component of our pay. So you see, the tax threshold can be reduced, and amendments can be made, and the normal tax can apply to every pay that we receive, like $2,000 a fortnight. That's for instance, per head, right across the country. And in that manner, I believe that the services that we're trying to get, yes, the road infrastructure, especially we're trying to get, and people, the government of any government of the day is allocating billions and billions of kina through our internal sources and outside sources from the borrowings that we make in order to fund our budgets. But this money, sometimes, given the current condition of the corruption that is so rife, that is eating away the fabrics of our society, and it's depriving every right of a person to see there's much needed services and to improve their lives. But since independence, nothing has changed so far. We have gone into a lot of borrowings and to fund those infrastructural developments right across the country. And the people are marginalized most of the time, given a financial or physical ear. So I am of the view that it's about time we need to make some very, very important changes so that it can directly impact in a positive way the lives of all the Papua New Guineans right across the country. And I believe that in that way, when we are being put on payroll, there has to be data cleansing for national census. They have to cleanse and give the accurate data for the population of this country. If it's 9 billion kina, we are paying 2,000 kina, but some of the 2,000 kina per head. So we times that, and then how much will cost the state to pay for the salary or personal element, the payroll for all those citizens right across the country. Then you work out the tax, get out the tax component every fortnightly, and then you will not pay as much because almost 50 or half of the pay every fortnight is already deducted straight from the pay point. So the important thing is the people's livelihood, the people's living standards are improving. You see, you're improving the people's life. That's very important because we are saying that government is going to deliver goods and services, roads, infrastructure, and nothing is filtering down. The people, those in charge of those service delivery agencies, they get benefit, and the majority, most of the time since independence, they don't see anything, and much of the population, the majority of the population across the country is not employed. Some of them are employed, but they still paid under the minimum wage. Like that's where most of the people that are employed, by those those companies that we can think of, security firms and all those shops that are owned by the Asians, they're trying to make a living, so they have no choice. They just go and work, even though it's the minimum wage is not that much. They just work because they want to make ends meet. There's no future about that. So the government has to come up with this policy, change the Land Act, because at one time I went to Department of Lands. I did a audit, and I've seen this very, very worrying fact. The fact was the Land Department, they came up with a program, the program of land acquisition. The program is basically aimed at acquiring all the customer land, converting them into state land, so that they can easily develop this land, and eventually they can, convert most of the lands into state land. But that exercise, when you monetize it, when you put price tag to that program, it will cost trillions of kina, given that, given the situation of corruption that is so rife. People want bribery, people want inflated projects because they want to involve, they want to partake, they want to get the sales, their cuts and all that, so it becomes too expensive. So, for instance, if the landowner of a land that is identified to be purchased and converted into a state land, then, there are some parties involved. For instance, the landowner is the legitimate, the first party who is selling his or her land to the state. But then, there's some other parties that I will not like mention here, but we know that the writings on the wall, some parties who are calling shots here and there, they will definitely have the cut. So for instance, if a land that is worth around 100,000, for instance, those parties, they involve, so they come up with their own cost, so they put their own cost in, and the land which the state's supposed to be paying for 100,000, it triples 3 or 4 times. You can purchase it. The state always purchases it at 500, 600,000. So you see, in that way, when you look at it, like government is trying to convert all the customer land into state land, that's the price that the government needs to pay. So where will the money come from? The money is not easy nowadays because we have huge debt loans to think about, because we factor them in every budget that we pass in a given year, in a given fiscal or financial year. So we will add more and more because we need more money to purchase enough land. So where are the funds going to come from? Some of them will be internally generated, sourced, but most of them will be coming from, external sources such as loans and all that. So we will add more and more debt. So by the time we are trying to acquire a good portion of customer land as state land, it will already cost the state some billions, if not trillions of kina. So the easiest and the most safest and efficient way is, I believe, we convert all those, not convert, but the state has to amend the Land Act and get all the land back and put everyone on payroll. So once everyone is payroll, people's lifestyle will definitely increase. And when the land is owned by the state, this time around, the state, you as a landowner or a tribe or a clan or whatever, as an individual, you don't own any land anymore. So the state is at liberty. The state is the legitimate, the landowner, the new landowner of all the land across the country. So that's the time the land will be used at a own will, the government. So the government will now tell everyone right across, the remotest part of the country, telling them the land is no longer part of your inheritance. It has been changed, and I am now the owner of the land. So I want to better your living standards. I want to improve your living standards in a fairly rapidly approach. And I will relocate every one of you, because for me, as the state, to budget road development to your place to connect PNG or to link PNG, it gonna cost me some billions and billions of kina. And we can't afford to do that, because we can't afford to borrow money to fund all those projects. It will be a costly exercise. So we will now relocate you from the remote places into the township where the town boundaries are, along the main highways, along where the services and government goods and services, services are already in existence. In that way, government can easily deliver service and continue to improve the living standards of the people that the government of any day that boasts that I am for the people, by the people, and all these things can be realized when all those people can be relocated from remote areas right to where the service is, right to where the close to where the town is, so that they can live along those main highways. So government can easily bring services so that they can live a better life. They can have easy access to where the services, the education, health, road, infrastructure, all the services that you can think of, the people can now have close and easy access, because these people are now relocated from the remote areas into where the services are, you see. So my important point here is that, these people, they need to see the good life before they die, because a lot of people, they live a mysterious life. They have low self-esteem. They think that they have no value. They got nothing to add to the development of this nation. And some people, they resort to low life, and they waste their life, and then you can't do much, because the system is doing all these things. So we have to improve the system, put all people on payroll, and move people from remote parts of this country to where the services are. And not only people will be relocated, and they will live according to their culture and according to their tradition, or according to their province or tribe, clan, whatever. No, the government this time around, it has to set up this model of a cosmopolitan, metropolitan, concept. Metropolitan is where people from all across the country, they can be, rearranged, they can be mixed up, they can live, from different cultures, they can live in a same location. So government can easily cut down this regionalism, tribalism, and all these issues, you see. So the good thing and the advantages part of people being moved from from their place of origin, or their tribe, or their clan, their provinces, to a different location, and mixing them up with people from different tribes, from the coastal, from the highlands, from the island, from the southern. All these people will be mixed up, so that the culture thing can be done away with, because we want to bring change. Culture is something that is really becoming a blockage to development and mindset change and all that. So, government, and by mixing on this line now, Tolaya, Sipik, islands, or this line, they stay in their own place, and they feel that they have support, and they have, they are strong enough to, retaliate with the government, and they can, promote tribalism or regionalism and all that. But once they are mixed up, the mindset will change. So this is the change that we're trying to build. It's not that easy, but I believe nothing is hard. We can change it. It's a matter of your thoughts, because that's how we were brought up. That's how we, came about, since our forefathers. It passed on. So we feel that, land is our life, culture is our identity, all that. But, when we compare ourselves with the world that is already developing, like Australia, America and all that. People have changed. Living standard have changed. The mindset have changed. And when are we going to change? Are we going to change like after 20 years or 30 years or 40 years, like people are, very much boastful about this 2040 vision? I think by 2040, I think some of us will be dead. I think some of our people around here, they want to see changes now, not in 2040 time. Those people will be dead already, you see, by then. So, people, the government of the day have to think now, current 2040 and 50 and all that, vision, yes, we can achieve them, but just let them, because they're in the unknown. That's like some years after these things gonna be achieved, those pillars or whatever vision that the government have set. But for now, what are we gonna do? We have to change some laws, some regulations, some policies. The important policy that I see can really improve or change this country fairly rapidly is this reformation that I've just mentioned. So convert all the land. Not convert, just government to change the Land Act, get all the land back, put everyone per head on payroll, at least 2,000 kina per head. And, that's where we can create wealth. The GDP of the country can increase fairly rapidly because right now the money is with the people now. People play around with money, they do trade, they involve in trade, they, do financial, commercial activities. They purchase things here and there, The wealth is going to be created fairly rapidly. And people now, the living standards will be increased. And we will have banks, because everyone is on payroll, banks will want to do business with them. So the bank rates going to go down, definitely going to go down. And we'll have very competitive bank rates, and people will obtain cheap loans. They can improve their lives. Government can also monitor how they are spending their budget because their life depends on it. So that's where law and order can be able to increase, law and order can really improve because by now people are living, they are being mixed up. They are living their own places. They are like the government of the day is now, putting people not according to law, provincial law, clan law, or tribe law. Now the people are being rearranged and put in respective, but in such a metropolitan arrangement where people come and they live together from different backgrounds and culture and tribes and all that. So, people would be able to embrace each other and they will embrace the change that has just been introduced to them, you see. So, in that way, people have a change. So, another very, very important thing that me like discussing, when people see that, when a government is now, having this entire burden, the entire how many population of the country is now in the government's hand, you see. So the people will put the government on notice not to mess around. So this is one important thing. So now the government of the day will make sure that the people there get paid. You see, if the people not get paid through some, some little mismanagement, all that, their life depends on it now, and their life is, under threat too. So in that way, the system itself will increase accountability, transparency, and good governance. So the members that they go in there, they will be very, very responsible members. They will not think about spending money unnecessarily because our life depends on them now. So because our payroll, we want to get the pay on the time, not like, people are mismanaging money and then we not get paid and then we suffer. That thing will be the thing of the past. And right now it's like all the land has been surrendered and the state owns every land. So our, the budget is so tight, because we all on payroll, and in that way, the government will be a responsible, very, very responsible government with good management, accountability, good governance, transparency. All that thing will, the system will eventually, automatically promote that. Not we forcing all those ingredients to happen, but the system itself now will promote them. So definitely on the other side as well, if a member or, insists that there is no money in the public account, the public purse, they will not have the interest to go in there, because why will they, spend their entire life, feeding the Papua New Guineans, because there's no money, extra money that will be there where they will be attracted to, get those money. So right now, like everyone is on payroll, so all the money will be tied up. Sure. The budget will be tight for the payroll alone. So goods and services things, because we are already now living across where all the services are, across those main highways in each province. So we will no longer service the services. The number of services will be cut down, because people are now, living where the service is already. So government will spend less to bring some of its services to them, because it's no longer we are living like far and wide, bread and width of this country. We are living where the services and where the aid post is, where the police station is, where the airport is, where the hospital is, and where the township is. So we'll not travel, length and width of the nation to go to where the services is. Or we will, in other words, the government will not worry about bringing those services to the remote places where cost is so huge. So now the budget will be realigned. Most of the budget will be consumed by the payroll, just like some of the organizations, or we already have a setup where the government payroll consumes bulk of the budget for the country. So you see, it's like we are running a payroll budget, or payroll, annual budget appropriation. So in a like manner, what's the problem? We have to implement it so that our livelihood of people can improve, so that people can be self-sustainable, self-dependent, independent financially, so that they cannot depend on a member or a governor or whatever to, financially support them, because right now the money is with them. So eventually, that's the change that we wanted, and that's probably the change that the Vision 2050, tries to achieve. Some like years into the unknown, where I don't know where I'm going to see this change, or the vision will come to fruit, come to reality. I don't know, because these things are in the unknown. We want it now, within 2 years, 3 years, or 5 years time. We want the change. We want to see the change, because our election period is last 5 years, and we want some changes, some very, very good changes within that period of time, during the those election period, or the term our member serves the parliament as being a representative of the people in the parliament. So these are the changes that I believe that will really and rapidly change the lifestyle of the people. Living standard will improve fairly rapidly. Money will be, because people are now, the money is now filtered directly to the people through the pay. So, livelihood will improve in a fairly rapidly manner. And that's something that I believe that the 2050 wants to achieve, and we will achieve it within no time. And any member that wants to go into the parliament, they want money, so they see that there is money there. They want to just use some projects, and they just want to plunder, and they want to just channel some money out of it. But this time around, it will not happen. This will be the things of the past, because the budget will be tied to our payroll. And no one will mess around, because if anyone messes around, he knows that he's messing up with the entire Papua New Guineans. Everywhere he wants to travel, his life will be in danger. So in that way, the system itself will promote efficiency, promote honesty, and it will reduce corruption. So we want it systematic. We're trying to use force and all that, and people are going beyond laws, and they are doing all sorts of things and making things complicated. They are running away with all those misconduct and all that. So the system itself will reduce these things, eliminate those mismanagement, misconduct, and all the abuse of public funds and all that. So I believe each other time we have to embrace this idea. We have to surrender our land, because we are subject to time. We cannot just live like this. We're already in the 21st century, and it's the second millennium, and 21st century where all developments have taken place. There's nothing left where Papua New Guinea can, think that, oh well, we're still young and we will achieve things after some years. No, we are procrastinating everything. Our mindset has to be, abreast. Our mindset has to be in the current, not into the future where no one ever lives in the future. Only God lives in the future. So don't talk about future. We're talking about today. That is that. And once everyone is on payroll, the budget will be tight. There won't be any extra fund left where people can go in and, mismanage. So right now, budget and tight, the living standard will be improved. So I think the main point that I want to raise is that we have to surrender our land to the state. The state has to put us on payroll, for instance, like 2,000 kina per head right across the country. Relocate people from all the remote places, because right now the people no longer own the land because the land has been taken over by the state. So government can easily move people around and, create metropolitan cities right across the country. People will see the improvement. When people have money, they will go and improve their own livelihoods. They can buy vehicles, they can purchase their own car, house, and there'll be money floating around every fortnightly, because right now people have money, they're getting paid. So just imagine, trade stores and businesses can pop up here and there because the money is now with the people. So the state can look for money, can go and get some money from somewhere, tighten those SMEs or tighten those state-owned enterprises. Now people have money, they can, be able to make more profits so that they can fund the budget, so that, the cycle can go on, the budget cycle can go on year in, year out. So the important thing is the state can manage it and pay fortnight, for instance, and pay 4 billion kina loan per fortnight. 45% of that 4 billion and by Russian to pay. Once the payroll is run, the 45% will be automatically credited back to the trust account, the public account, or by the IRC, and remit them to public account at Wageni or the Treasury or Finance. So you see, it's not a very complex thing. We can make it happen. So government of the day, please, if you want to change Papua New Guinea, it's now. It's not after 40 years or 50 years. No. You want to change PNG, do it now. Because people are living in the now. People are not living into the future. Past is past. We learn from the past. We adjust. We live in the current. And then the future live into God, because that's where God lives. No one has ever traveled the future yet. But we are already traveling into the future with 2040 vision. And this thing, I believe that, it may or it may not be achieved. And then it's too late to, adjust. So right now, we can adjust these things. These are not final. We can revisit it. We can put this reformation that I've just discussed into the 2050 vision or 2040 vision, and then we can factor it and we can implement it. And definitely the results will be so impressive. People will be improved. The law and order will be improved because people will now live, they will be mixed up, from all cultures will be mixed up, living in certain places, just like Port Moresby, where, people from different setup, they live together, in a metropolitan city setting. So that concept can be rolled out, and then you can see the change. For now, government is trying to do everything. Government is directly responsible for every budget, and in the pretext of service delivery. And we are not seeing any service delivery at all. People are playing marble, at the expense of our lives. So it's about time we change this law. Change it to the land act there. Government makes him ground. Put them all to the people of payroll. Move more to the land stable, remote everywhere. Government by current service go all the way. There are not many people living in there. How many millions and billions of Kenya would be wasted just to bring the road to where those people are in the name of linking PNG or connecting PNG? And this is something that I don't think it's realistic. Move those people, change the land act, Government on every land. Move the people to where the services along those main national highways that you have built. Just keep on maintaining those roads, and people can live along those highways. For instance, Mount Aigen, people can live from Mount Aigen along the main national highway all the way to Leh. Mix people up. They can live harmoniously because right now they have mixture of people living together in peace and harmony. So this is where government can easily, monitor them, because once they're in their own places, like for instance Thari or Wabek, there's where there, a lot of killings going on, and the government cannot do anything. It's a small fight, Government has got long arms, has got a lot of powers, and it can just contain that fight, but the fight has not been contained because these people are in their own land, they're fighting over their land. So you see, those issues will be issue of the past once government gets the land and improves the people's life. People among the spirit of God, they can change. The environment can change them. Australia. The environment will change that Kanaka. His way of thinking, his perspective, his ideology, his belief system. It will change to some extent. That person can change. A primitive from the remote part of our country, you bring that person to Australia. The culture will mold him, save him, change his life. Character will change. This is the thing that I'm talking about. So people also, they are in the turf, in the toughen, or in the land, or on the land that they're getting strength. You see, all feelings are strong. But I'm all move come out German and mix him on the ground, or mix him on and just give him a block law and leave him. Then I will put on police station. He'll still monitor people because change has happened and people have to embrace change and move on. If we do not change this status quo or the current practice, what I'm just proposing, I believe that it can change country fairly rapidly, and it can change country in no time, and we can do it. And please, let's not, play politics. Let's not, tug of war over power and politics and all that. Come up with some real changes like this. Give people money direct to the people. Give money direct to the people. Let people improve their own changes, not to come and spoon feed them. We don't want free education. We want we want to be put on payroll so that we can own pay our school fees. We can own manage our personal needs and basic welfare and affairs and professional affairs and all this. You see, we don't want the government to come and spoon feed us. I think it's about that we need this change. Government, if you're serious to build the economy to 200 or 300 billion GDP level, I believe that this is the change. You change those, you implement those reformations, you drive those reformations, and you will see the change. Just make the change, And I believe if you can take this change, you can, you can drive this change. I believe God will bless you. And the people of this country will be happy. They will be living a good life. And, who knows, if we don't change these laws and reformations, we don't drive it, then we will live like this. People will continue to, defend their land, and they will fight, and they will die for the land. And then on the other side, you will tell them, condemn them, saying that, oh, why are you fighting? Why are you fighting? No, get to the root of it. Just root is that you change the Land Act, get all the land, put everyone on payroll, mix everyone, all those ones living in the remote areas, relocate them and locate them where the services are already existing. So you see, that's how I see we can drive the change that we desire. We really desire, and some people will, the older ones that are still around, our fathers, our forefathers, our grannies, our mothers, they are all people, they are around, they want to see changes. But this is the change. They have to experience some good life. It's very expensive, but I believe that you can money number na wasting number kind of government project number that maski. Dinner money, whatever money you like, Sim Street, Karagan, give money line to put night. Their lives are improving. So you see, we can change and you can make a difference. And you, if you're a current Prime Minister of the day reading viewing my video, please, I really desire to see this change, because this change is going to drive PNC. The change that we're going to see in like after 40 years or 50 years, it just becomes a dream we can make it a reality within this last period of time, like within 5 years time. Member, Prime Minister, ministers, all good, like good leadership, local injet, please, whoever you are reading me or watching me right now, please, we can change this, and it's you. You can change this status quo. You can change this developing country into a role model or a very, very, fast developing country in the Pacific. If this idea is implemented with God's strength, God is watching. God has blessed us immensely. The little that we have so many resources, so many things that we can put those, manage them well, so that the things that I've just said can be achieved. Yes, if you're watching this, please, let's implement it. Let's all do it, and let's all live a good life of peace, harmony, law-abiding citizen life, so that we enjoy it here, and then we enjoy after this life, as we exit. So in the meantime, while we are around, please, let's not make each other suffer. Let's make life easier for all of us. God bless, and these things are coming straight from my heart. I haven't borrowed anything from anyone, and these are my own personal views. It does not represent my employer or nothing. There's a disclaimer part of it. So these opinions is entirely mine, and solely mine alone. So at this date, 24th of March 2024, thank you for watching, and happy Easter. God bless.